Hello! Welcome to Synchronic Saturdays with Megan
and Crystal.
So this is the last day that I'm going to be in California with Crystal. I literally realized it was Saturday. I didn't have anything planned for the Synchronic Saturdays, and so I thought that I would just go live and do a little bit of a video. And I really hope that the audio for you guys doesn't suck, because essentially we are in downtown Disney right now, which was close to the convention that I was going to, and we just they're coming. Oh. Hi there.
7 of you. Hello.
For those of you guys who just got here, welcome to Synchronic Saturdays. That's kind of a joke. I'm being a little bit facetious. I was with Crystal. I just realized it's Saturday.
What a synchronic realization.
I know, right? I am going to continue on, probably next Saturday, hopefully.
Yep.
Yeah, next Saturday, with continuing on with the functions. Okay, that's good to know. As long as you guys can hear our voices, that's really all I care about right now.
Yeah, the wind is also people chattering as they walk past.
Yeah, we just were trying to find a place, but thank you guys for letting me know. Essentially, we're going to continue on with Synchronic Saturdays going into the functions, but we wanted to just sort of chat with you guys. What was I going to say?
I can't read your mind that well yet, girl.
If you guys have any questions, either about ENFPs or ENFJs, or just any of the cognitive functions, or about our friendship,
or about any theories, feel free to ask.
Yeah, feel free to comment below. Sorry guys, but I was just talking to Crystal about how sometimes I see these whatever on YouTube and I think, I could do that. Why am I not doing it? Why don't I do this? And sometimes those desires are just to prove myself I could do something, and not actually because I want to do it. And so that's what I was just talking to her about. I was topics, or just exploring that here. And also just what I realized though when talking to Crystal about it is that it's really not about whether or not I start another channel or not. And I know you guys, if you've been watching me a lot, you know that that's something that's been on my mind a bit lately, because I've been just sort of dropping hints about, should I talk about other things besides Myers-Briggs? But really what it came down to after talking to Crystal about it is that really all I needed was some fresh, looking at what I'm doing with some fresh eyes and thinking of some fresh ideas, And really what I liked about the idea of potentially making another channel is just the newness in the front too. So yeah.
So what's an example of a fresh new idea that you're having? You're
I don't know.
Keep it mysterious, or
I don't know. Honestly, guys, now that I'm live, I'm like, what am I doing? I'm starting to just feel bad about myself. I don't have anything planned. Nobody wants to hear me talk.
Aww,
and I'm almost wanting to just turn it off because I'm annoyed with the people walking around and stuff. But so Crystal, I just want, guys, I want to make a commitment to myself to have some sort of Synchronic Saturdays content up on Saturdays. So that's why I'm doing this. But Crystal, do you have any topics that you would like to explore?
I would love to talk. We've been just talking again further about kind of differences between FI and TI a lot. And today, for example, I was giving Megan a lot of TE insight as to whether or not she should have 2 channels or just put our content on 1 channel. And it's one of those things where I was I had to put on my "if I were you" hat. And that's what I do when I try to empathize with someone who uses TI and NI. Kind of intimidates me, where I'll try to be super intellectual and use NI and TI to try and relate to them, when really I should just be using me, Crystal, to talk to them and give them that perspective. So
what do you mean? What is the difference between you, Crystal, versus?
I guess I'm so aware. I go between thinking everyone's so similar and thinking about how everyone's so different, to where I'll be well, Megan would never do what I would do because we use different functions. So
hi, Miriam, by the way. Hi.
Sometimes that's why, if you'll ask me for my hot take, I won't want to give it because I don't think it's useful. So, do you want to talk about that, or
finish what you're saying? But I do want to answer that actually.
Okay, cool. But basically, I often think, well, not everyone's an NFP, and now that I know that because of Myers-Briggs, it's more intimidating to try to pretend like everyone can see the world the way I do. So if you ask, what do you think I should do, or what do you think? I'll like try to imagine if I were you what I would do, as opposed to think. Like, I'll try to imagine if I were you and an ENFJ, as opposed to if I were you, but still as an ENFP. So I'll like get caught up in being like, should I try to pretend I have TI and use that, or should I just say something that might not make sense to her because we don't have the same functions?
And what was your conclusion?
Well, my conclusion was I should just talk as if I were in her position, but still ENFP crystal, and that actually ended up helping her more. So I was like, ooh, I can see the benefits to doing both, and I just honestly was honest that I wouldn't really have a preference, I guess. So,
Okay, I love how you consider pretending.
pretending I was an ENFJ. Like, I always try to
Yeah.
imagine, what is it like to be an ENFJ whenever you ask me anything?
I guess I'm confused right now, and maybe you guys can see in real time how I'm confused by ENFPs. Is that it seemed like you were saying that you had some sort of conclusion on whether or not it was better to pretend like if I were you as an ENFP or if I were you as an ENFJ, but I didn't hear like a conclusion statement.
Oh, the conclusion was I decided it was better for
Really, it's better to be like if I was in your shoes,
yes, but
if
still
I
me.
was this crystal but in your shoes.
Yes. What my
Yeah.
theory is, I think NI and TI is better at looking at, like NI I think is good at giving me advice that works for me. Like, you never try to say, like, you will give me the perspective of if I were in your shoes as an ENFJ, I would do this, but because you're an ENFP, it seems like you're thinking this and such, and I can't really give both scenarios. I can only say what I would do if I were in your position as an ENFP, but I can't.
That's still helpful.
And maybe that isn't even that helpful, because if I were you but an ENFJ, I'd also be stuck with the same problem. And I don't think of that automatically.
I'm confused by that, but I want to say a couple things and then maybe we can get back to that. I don't know what you mean by that at all. Sorry. No, I'm not trying to be rude, guys. This is like kind of how I get stumped sometimes, actually, by ENFPs. Seeing through perspectives via others' functions.
Are you talking about I'm seeing from the perspective of someone using their functions? Like, yeah, it's like I'm trying to use my NE and FI to imagine.
My
what it's like to have FE.
my NI is having a hard time understanding how we got to this topic, what triggered the topic, what the point of it is, and so sometimes I get confused, but and also I was wanting to answer. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. You really are just seeing how I am with crystals sometimes, because I think we confuse each other. Not to be rude, but I can't imagine having the confidence to think that someone would notice if you changed your Facebook name.
And see, with all
And I realized that my like inferior TI was like kind of a diss on her.
Yeah,
like it sounds
was
like kind of a
huge
drag.
diss. But because I could tell how uncomfortable she was saying it, I thought it was hilarious. Like,
Because
so
I
it
wasn't
didn't
trying to
feel
be
that
mean.
bad. Yeah.
I think maybe a TE user might have just said, or like a TJ might have been like, oh, someone's confident, but like in like a good way. I don't know. Is that what they would have
Yeah,
said?
they would have said that, yeah. Well, see, just now, Megan, when she was like, I'm not following what you're saying, to say to TE, sorry, I can't follow what you're saying, to acknowledge that even is less rude than just staring at me blankly and waiting for me to say something.
It's better TE, honestly, that I've had to learn from her. But what I was going to say, I actually kind of want to answer. Oh, I wanted to say something to Miriam. If you are still here, I think it was you that commented and said that it's 1 o'clock where you are. I'm curious, for those of you guys who do like watching this live stream, if you want to let me know like what time zone you're in, so that I can get a better idea. Because like I am on like Pacific Coast now, but normally I'm in Central Time. Yeah. Normally I'm in Central Time, so it might be a little different. I do know that I have some people like in other coasts. But at the same time, you know, like I'll probably switch up the live ever so often, and I am also always going to publish these so that if you can't make it, but I know some of you guys do like the Q&A, but wanted to cover that. And also the AI topic is really interesting to me, and something, this is actually an example of, these are the sort of things that I want to talk about in other videos, because I actually have a lot of thoughts on that. And the short answer is that I personally am not scared about any robots taking my job, because I think that the jobs that robots are going to take, or AI, whatever that they're going to take, is the jobs that humans. And even though you can look at it from the perspective of, oh, but some of those jobs are jobs that humans need, real people. The fear that I do have is that capitalism and wealth inequality is going to make it hard before it gets better. And sort of, I'm worried about wealth inequality growing in that regard, where like if all the people, like if their jobs, like if you work at Walmart and then all of a sudden your job is replaced by a robot, I'm worried about those people. But I think that like in the long run, I don't know how we'll get there, but in the long run, those jobs aren't really, like, robots aren't going to be taking the jobs that make humans feel passionate and happy inside. And so I think that, you know, in the long run, I hope that technology and all that will pave the path for doing the shitty work that nobody wants to do, and then also opening up the human's brain to do things that they want to do. So
yeah, for me, I think AI, all AI does is like force humans to further evolve, because technology is evolving, and I think it forces us to think about like
exactly
what are our priorities, because right now we are being a little lazier, and there will always be jobs that AI just can't get to. We'll always be one step ahead of them if we let ourselves evolve and expand our brains. Because, like, I just think about the fact that at the end of the day, we created the AI, and it's just kind of a manifestation of our own desires.
Yeah.
And so the practical way would be, okay, AI is taking care of what we don't want to deal with, so that gives us more room and space and time to focus on what we should care about. And some people, I think, don't think about what they actually care about. So I'm not scared of AI. I'm just more like, I don't think AI even itself is going to get dangerous and quote out of control, because we can always be more creative one step ahead of it if we even created it.
Luigi, you have a really good point. Did you see that one? I couldn't say it. It was something about there was a fear that maybe it could cause a permanent underclass. I think that's a really real concern. I'm curious your type. Actually, if you want to share, I think you might be using TI here.
I guess I just
because the truth is that there is wealth inequality that already exists, and that technology has led to there being more wealth inequality. But
I mean, I guess I just think that we kind of asked.
Okay, yeah, TI, of course.
I think we just kind of asked for it. Like,
I love it.
It's our problem for not taking care of these problems sooner. So if they crop up, it's still as a result of us being negligent, and I don't think AI in of itself creates new problems. It just exposes the ones that were kind of there. It's like why people are like scared of social media and the obsessions people have. And I'm like, do you really think that it's a new desire of the human psyche to have the desire for acknowledgement?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, nothing's permanent. It'll be a stepping stone. Yeah, we need to adapt, and I think people are always lazy. And
I agree with you too, Interval. I think that tech creates an abundance of resources.
It does.
But I think that whenever you do have abundance, it also creates a sort of fear and lack as well. Because once there's more possibilities and people start to like worry about stuff.
Also, here's the thing. So what if you're scared or not of it? There's just no excuse for you to not try to fully evolve anyway. You should be doing that anyway. So why does it even matter? Like, I'm like, if you're doing your job as a citizen of keeping your mind open and expanded, you will be. If there is like a robot revolution that's gonna happen, you'll be one step ahead of it anyway.
Oh, I hope that this isn't gonna be like demonetized. Wait, is this video gonna be demonetized because Disney?
Oh my god, that would suck.
Oh.
Oh well.
God damn it. If I get a copyright strike, I'm gonna be pissed. Okay, should we move?
There's gonna be music wherever we go. SMH.
God damn it. Well, we don't have to stay in.
I think people like Elon Musk are considering personality, interests, and communications. He once claimed in. Yeah, I think Elon Musk is just. What do you think Elon Musk's type is?
I think that he is either an INTP or ENTP. I haven't looked into him enough.
I think he's an NTP because he doesn't seem like he has good FI, but he is capable of using TI and TE.
Yeah, a couple things I want to acknowledge though, because honestly, okay, everyone says he's INTJ. I literally don't think that he is at all. But I also am not. Okay, you can talk about it if you want. I just want to say too, me personally, I'm not really interested in typing celebrity right now.
Yeah.
So are you?
Not really.
Okay.
Okay, but what I will say to the people that say he's an NTJ is, I'm not like when I who have a public persona, I'm looking at what they don't have included in what they're expressing, because any NT publicly is going to use TI and TE to convey their points.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for if they kept in mind FI or FE to type it, and that's how it comes to conclusion. But I can make a video about that some other time.
Yeah. Like, I just literally think there's absolutely no way in hell that he's an INTJ, the same way that I think, we need a better way to type so people get the same results. I absolutely agree.
He seems so ungrounded and clueless about the social and psychological aspect of humanity.
Yeah, all NTs can be a little clueless about that, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like how...
It's not like a FE or an FI.
It's like how if I'm being really charismatic and such, people might think I'm using FE, when really I'm just, like, I don't know, it's like the same thing. Like, you just have to look at, am I not using TI or TE?
And there was actually a thread about this on Twitter. I can't remember who started. Anyway, I honestly... I hate typing celebrities so much.
There's too much controversy because they don't show all sides of them.
Because it's a persona.
They only show one side. And I could be wrong too. You could be wrong too. Like, I'm not married to my
typing. I don't know him.
Exactly. If I ever do meet him though, for some odd reason, I'll let you guys know.
And you guys might see I have strong opinions about this stuff. And that's because it's my opinion and that I've came to it. But you guys can disagree because I don't know him. So, it's like I can be opinionated about stuff.
We barely show all sides, and we're trying to show our sides. Like, it's hard.
But I wanted to say, too, about some of your comments about technology growing. I think that technology is changing at a faster pace than human... Exactly. You guys don't have enough data.
Who knows?
Exactly.
How TE users will be like, we'll never know, or we might know someday, but not now.
Also, guys, the way that I type is through FE, which is inherently very hard to explain, is that I will type through FE. I will type based on how someone makes me feel and the patterns of that, and you guys might not find that reliable.
Yeah, I do that too.
But as a
FI.
And that's why I know in my mind that he's an NTP, because to me, NTPs and NTJs, I love both of them, but I have a completely different reaction to both of them, and I have completely different critiques about both of them. And so for me, I just notice a lot of patterns based on how I feel around NTPs and how I feel around NTJs feels so different. Because to me, it's like, oh, they get me on this level. They're seeing the world the same way. Oh, but we communicate different. It's hard, is how I feel about NTJs. But with NTPs, I get in these great conversations. I'm like, oh my God, we agree. Wait, you see it like that?
His points make you think, as opposed to just him saying facts. Like, his points might make you think more as a TI user.
I also don't think that Elon Musk, here I am typing a celebrity even though I said I didn't. I don't think he has a strong NI vision. I think he is about a possibility. He's like, oh, I want to go to space. Oh, I want to do a car. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that.
Which is hard because, like, NI and NE can both be focused on that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I think people are confused.
Actually, if I had to say it, I think he's probably an ENTP that uses good NI, because I think that he has cultivated a brand for himself that is NI, and he is very future focused. But I think too many people, they think, oh, he's future focused. He's using NI. And that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how you
That's why
type
Meghan has pretty strong FI, which is why people don't always believe she's an NFJ. But I'm also like, having seen all sides of her for being friends for 3 years, she's definitely like, it's like maybe other people, if they were personality experts who knew him, might know. I personally use feeling too to type him, and because I could never in a million years feel like I would have a crush on him, I'm like, must be a TI user without FI. That was kind of a joke though, but like, I know people are gonna take that and run with it, whatever.
But I guess the point I wanted to say earlier is that, like, it's interesting to me because I feel like technology has figured out how to evolve at a faster pace than human psyche. And so human psyche is now trying to figure out how to keep up.
There's like a higher standards for human psyche now because of technology, and that isn't a bad thing in my opinion.
There's all these things like, I mean, I've been to panels at VidCon with all these YouTube creators talking about what is my responsibility to my fans. Do I have a responsibility for my fans? And I also have gone to journalism conferences where they're like, what is my responsibility as a journalist? And also there's all these tech guys like Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff, where they're like, uh-oh, I created this platform that now everyone's using. Do I have a responsibility to it? People are thinking about humanity. They're thinking about what sort of responsibility do I have to the public, because things feel more public now with social media. And so I think in the long run it'll be fine. Also, I just want to say, what is going on with the clouds? I literally keep being like,
See, I'm just, my NE is like, yep, that's
Like-
the weather. That's like, there are changes in the lighting.
It like makes me feel discombobulated. I'm like,
And I'm like, I always feel discombobulated.
I'm just like, why can't her make up its mind?
Oh, like,
It's a Tame Impala song. Why won't you make up your mind?
yeah, one thing I realized about me last night as an NFP is I think my brand is maker of unsolicited philosophical comments. Like, they're
Yeah.
always unsolicited, like, no one really cares. Like, they'll be like, wait, why does that matter? I'll be like, does anything matter? Or like some shit like that.
Reminds me of that whenever I got a tattoo and the NFP guy that gave me the tattoo, I was like, I just don't know. It's permanent, guys. And he goes, is anything permanent?
Like, I'm always like, I always have like, it's all, I think for NE and FI, it's like I'm always like living up here where I'm like, nothing really matters because we all die and we're 1 second closer to death each passing second. And it's like,
So
I can
true.
never not think about that in some way. So if someone says something that gives me an opportunity to like make that kind of morbid joke, it's like, yep, sorry, I was thinking it. Oh, someone loves your sunglasses. I do.
thought-
Crystal does anything. Jeff thought that at some point. I always think that, bitch.
Do you guys know an idea I have?
Sorry, you're not a bitch. I didn't mean to say
You
that.
guys know an idea I have? I told Crystal earlier. So I like walked into downtown Disney, and I've never been to. Well, okay, I went to Disneyland once when I was 7, but I've been to Disney World in Orlando a couple times, and so I've been to that downtown Disney, and I was really confused to know that the downtown Disney. Thank you. I was really. Oh, there goes the sunglasses. I was confused to realize that
Thanks,
the
benevolence.
downtown Disney goes into the Disneyland, and I was like, if I had dumb kids and I had no money and I had little kids, I would literally take them to Disneyland or to downtown Disney and be like, hey, do you want to go to Disney World? And I would like tell them this, and I would make them think that they were at Disney World just for the memories. If I couldn't afford it, I would do it all the time.
Well, if people tell their kids that Santa's opportunity to lie.
So I don't know. I feel like ENJ parents or like uncles or aunts or whatever, family members like to get a rise out of you or whatever. My ENTJ uncle, we would always go to this hotel just for a Mother's Day brunch. He would take me.
Opportunity to lie.
So I don't know. I feel like ENJ parents or like uncles or aunts or whatever, family members like to get a rise out of you or whatever. My cousins up to the top floor and tell us that ghosts lived up there and then give us like a ghost tour.
And did you believe him?
Yeah. I mean, he said it. And I think ENTJs in particular, they have this way of just being like, yeah, it's true. Like if they believe.
Like Nathan Fielder, how he's like,
Yeah,
it's
Nathan
over."
Fielder. Okay,
I
so
know.
someone asked if I could see myself moving to California, and that's like a interesting question. I'll have Crystal answer
See,
it
look,
for
some
me.
people want to know about your life on your channel.
Oh. Yeah, sounds like a cool uncle. He also literally would also, he like didn't have kids, and so my ENTJ uncle, like, he would also always do this thing called like the Enchanted Forest, and like me and my cousins would go there, and he told us, okay, here's how it works. There's this enchanted forest in my backyard, and it sucks, but like I think that there's maybe someone out there that like leaves gifts or whatever. And then, okay, what he literally did is he prompted us and was like, and you guys can feel free to steal this idea. He prompted us by asking us what we thought the Enchanted Forest was and what magic we thought it was. And then literally when we went out there to find our gifts with our names on it, it all was the gifts. It all had what we predicted. And we were like, whoa, how did the Enchanted Forest know? But when I look back now, he kind of was prompting us to answer the thing that he bought for us. Like I got like a Nutcracker doll, and I was dancing in ballet, and I was in the Nutcracker, and he asked me questions like, ooh, Megan, I wonder if it'll be kind of like the Sugar Plum Fairy or something. And I was like, oh yeah, I wonder if it is like the Nutcracker. I was like thinking about it, so he like planted the idea in my head. And then whenever I got the gift of the Nutcracker, I was like, whoa, I predicted that. Like I felt like I did it.
It's like the movie Inception, where they go to all these lengths to break into the guy's mind and plant an idea, which I think the director of that movie is an NTJ, by the way.
Do you think that TE users are good at planting seeds of thought in people?
Oh,
kind
100%.
of like how FE can plant like motivations and inspiration.
And emotions.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I was actually talking about this earlier. This applies to something I was saying. basically I was like saying like, oh, like I usually talk about Myers-Briggs astrology to people that are actually curious about them. I rarely get into like fights in real life about them because people don't think I'm trying to convince them. And like then I was explaining how I will just like be talking and having regular conversation about something else, and then I just randomly slip in like joke about how I'm an ENFP. And then I'll kind of wait for someone to say, oh, you're an ENFP, I'm a blah, blah, blah. And it's almost like, oh, it just happened to go that way, but I planted the seed, and whether it grew or not was up to them, but I planted the seed of the idea of I want to talk about that. They didn't even know half the time.
Oh,
so
that's
I think TE
interesting.
is like, it leaves like little clues for people to latch onto and then lets them grow accordingly. But I think, and I don't know how FE users, I think FE users will be like,
Sneaky,
kind of touchy if they like you, and then you'll suddenly start to like them touching you. But at the same time, I will grow. It's like if you plant a seed but there's no sunlight or water or soil,
Yes.
you can't grow it. So I think unless the person really wanted to talk about it on some level or wanted you to touch them on some level, you can't make someone like, you can't plant a seed and have it actually grow without the person's consent on some level, I think.
Yeah, if it's like the wrong climate.
Thanks, they are cool.
Here's some NI for that theory is if it's the wrong climate, you can't just like plant, I don't know, can you plant a palm tree in, I just found out that they do plant palm trees literally in California. I thought they're all real. They're great at using people. That would be equivalent to saying that EFJs are great at manipulating people. This is the very, very worst of FE and TE that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Most people, you know, that are decent people, everyone at BuzzFeed. Actually, that's funny, everyone at BuzzFeed's an ENFP. They did a video about being ENFPs, but we do not think that they actually are.
Some of them are, some of them aren't. I will say it's NF territory.
A lot of them are, yeah.
And they all do use all 4 of the NF functions. So I think it's hard to say.
If for those of you guys who care, VidCon right now, and I saw some of them, I think that Ashley Perez seems like an INFJ, and I think that Sophia Nagard seems like an INFP to me, and they aren't at BuzzFeed anymore.
Inspo creator G Hey.
Oh hey, yeah, I guess Effie's good at manipulating.
Oh, as an FI user, I definitely think so.
I like to refer to it as influencing and inspiring. Okay.
Get it? Wait, are you? I actually don't know.
Yeah, how do you pronounce your name?
I just have my limited elementary style K-pop or influenced
What's
Korean
the most annoying type that you try and get along with but it won't click for you? Okay, so what I've really realized about myself is that I can get along with every type. It depends more about their values as a person than anything else.
I can't say that I have a hard time connecting with any type because it just depends on if I can tap into their functions, they can tap into mine.
Well, I used to think, okay, and I think that it is FI to realize, thanks. I think that it's FI to realize that you can't get along with anyone based on your values, but I will say that before I had my, I don't know, spiritual awakening, aka bad things. I
have that table away for later.
For later.
NFJ cleanliness, we got it.
Sorry, I'm long-winded.
Before you grew.
Before
you were grown.
I used to just think that I liked NFPs and NTPs.
Hi. And you hated STJs.
I used to think I hated STJs and that I kind of liked NTJs. But I think that really what that is that my TI and FE noticing the ease of communication. But just because there's not a natural ease of communication, it doesn't mean that you're gonna get along better or worse. And so I've even realized there's some INFJs that are complete piece of shit humans, even if I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
There are INTPs, and I realized this mostly because the INTP in particular, I either love you or I hate you based on your moral values. Same with ENTPs, but honestly, I think, I don't know. I'm talking too much about this.
Okay, so my hot take is, if you want to go on the internet and find out what NFPs and NFJs have said on this topic, it's everywhere if you want to look, because people always want to know what type is compatible with me, what type isn't. And I'm like, fuck that, because if you haven't developed essentially your weakest functions, I would say as a rule of thumb, you're probably not going to get along with that. For example, for me, that's an STP, so I'm just not going to get along with them.
I'm going to do a shout out. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
But I will say that I know so many STPs who've inspired me and validated my SI and TE and helped me understand what it's like to experience FE and SE more because they help my weaker ST functions. Like, I appreciate STPs so much, and I used to worry that I wouldn't get along with them, but then I realized one of my childhood best friends is a fucking ISTP, and despite how annoyed I would get with him from time to time, I love him so much. And so I just think that anyone who's asking that question, this is my NEFI take, by the way, take with it what you will. I think that if you are worried about not getting along with a certain type, I just think working...
Wait, you're getting at the root of why people ask that question, and I don't think I ever know why people
ask that question because they're afraid, I think, that there's just certain people in this world you can't get along with. And
Oh.
I agree with that, but it's individual to individual. It is not a type thing. It is not a
okay.
boxing thing. As long as you focus on refining and improving yourself, you're going to find all sorts of people you can connect with.
Yeah,
So-
and I want to do a shout out to like inspo creator Jihei. I think let me know if I'm pronouncing your
say
name
that
right.
every time we
But
say
she
your
has a
name.
channel, so check her out. But I was just gonna say she's an ENTP that I could tell wants to grow, and that's actually one of the things that I look for in NTPs whenever I'm judging them. like NTPs in general.
When we say judging, we mean like assessing, not
Assessing if they're worthy of my time. Okay, well,
That's
like maybe.
that's a way to put TE. TE does assess if you're worth someone's time.
But
though.
literally though, it's like NTPs, I literally just look at them and notice, are you growing? And if they're growing, then I probably love them. I just met an ENTP actually the other day that does YouTube, that does videos about minimalism and living your best life and intentional living and stuff like that. That's the sort of ENTP I like. Ones that are like growing, and like INTPs too, that are like, but I do think, okay, the thing with type is that you can notice patterns. And so what I'll say is,
hashtag TE, hashtag FE, hashtag all. Okay, go on.
hashtag, yeah. My rule of thumb is that I like people who are growing, who are curious, who are not afraid to be who they are, and who are willing to be wrong and are willing to have an open mind and put themselves out of their comfort zone. And the truth is that some types are not as likely to value those things as other types, but that does not mean that all ISTJs are gonna, I'm just not gonna get along with it. But it can mean that perhaps it is harder for like an ISTJ to be open-minded, get out of their comfort zone, talk to people, blah, blah, blah. The things that maybe I value, but and so that's the only sort of, I guess, bias I would have against types.
Ooh, here's something I thought of. I think that when you ask, oh, like what types do you find yourself clicking with like less, I'm like, I don't really know if I can apply a rule to that because I just look at every single person so individual. And it's so hard because also I just don't believe in rules for a human. It's so arbitrary. Like I'll like really have some STP best friends and then have some NFPs. I'm like, you are such a shitty person. But then I won't apply that to like all NFPs. Because I'm like, here's one example of a good one, here's one example of a bad one, and it will apply to like, so, and also I just think everyone's trying to grow in this day and age in general, so I won't even know what someone's type is half the time because my NE and FI will only be looking at their NE and FI,
Yes,
so to me, everyone
Omar.
seems like an NFP. Like, I was like, I don't really think that, I just like look at how I make everyone use NE and FI when they talk to me.
Just to address that really quick, the ISTJ is not the ENFJ's ideal mate, but what you're probably thinking of in socionics, just so you don't know, or just so you know, introverts in socionics, they have a different sort of perspective on what it means to be a judger, and so they look at it as not whether you express your judging or your perceiving. They look at it as what you do first, and so all of the introverts in socionics are like flipped. So if you're an ISTP in Myers-Briggs, which means that you use TI and SE, then you really are like an ISTJ in socionics because they would consider you a judger. And so what you're probably referencing to is socionics, which says that the ISTJ, socionics, TISE is the perfect match for ENFJ.
Yeah, so basically my TE simplifies it as, in socionics, if you're a P, if you're an IP, you're actually an IJ, and if you're an IJ, you're actually an IP. So
see, you're simplifying it, but anyone with TI would be like, wait, why?
But see, I'm like, for the TE users who are confused by what you just said, that's just the rule I use. So we're just catering to both kinds of people out there, I guess.
Yeah, I've never heard that theory about it being an MBTI. I can't say I agree with it. I think that someone that uses your blind spot as their main way of communicating, I can't see how that would be a perfect match. I think that it could be a good, challenging match, but I really do not think...
I think it depends on what your priorities are, because I have so many ITP friends, because TI is my blind spot. We kind of interact with both TE and FE, and it works. But in a relationship, I wouldn't want that. I would want someone with better FI, essentially.
I've told Crystal too that even though she's like my best friend ever and I can't stop talking to her,
we would never date.
I can never date, and I want to say I would never date the male version of her, but I'm also bisexual. So it's like I wouldn't date anyone who's like you at all. It's just like
I feel the same about
ENFJ.
Like,
I already dated an ENFP and it was stressful. And
I got her out of that relationship, and it was like out of the frying pan and into the fire, because I'm a handful. Like I am not a piece. I'm a piece of work too. So I'm just like, oh well, at least you get a philosophical conversation every once in a while. So.
And this ENFP was a Virgo. Okay, no.
Well, okay, I will say that I have a couple great ISTP friends, but I don't have the emotional connection I want with them. I tend to have that more of TJs. So to turn that around, I think it's easier for me to say which types I do like better.
I have a question. Why have people been taking photos here? What is there to even be in the background?
I think it's like these weird, like, fluffy, like, do you see that? There's,
I do not understand people. Why do you need a photo right there?
We're just snobs.
It's a store in the background.
Yeah, we're just snobs.
There's nothing cool there. Okay, anyway.
We're at Disneyland.
We're not at Disneyland.
We're at downtown Disney, which is right by Disneyland entrance over there. Like literally,
it's
like
because I was.
I feel like GA's gonna leave now that she knows what we're really.
The reason why okay, you commented about my VidCon thing. Like I get on rides.
If I want to spend $100 right now for like 2 hours, sure.
I'm still like at VidCon. I just went to go food. And this was the closest walking distance for food, so I'm randomly here.
It's because we'd rather be with our viewers than with each other. I'm kidding.
Yeah, we'd rather. This is the only roller coaster I need. You guys, this is a ride for me.
It's a roller coaster of emotions, all the same types. Feels like people like come across.
Pause. Before you do that, you said that there was a question that you had tabled away. I want you to get to.
Oh, NFJ clinginess. Oh, this person wanted us to talk about NFJ clinginess?
Yeah, I feel like you would know exactly what to say on that.
Oh my god. Well, oh god, I don't know how to even start, because I know I'm biased because I'm an FITE user, so I'm gonna just be really rude.
You should share the perception and then also what you've learned about why they are.
Well, I guess all I can say is my perspective, which
that's all we all can say.
That's all I can only ever give my opinion, which I always feel like I have to make it objective because I'm a TE user, but whatever. I think that I get really annoyed specifically with NFJs when they're clingy, more because we use different functions.
I'm literally
oh my god, I'm being so rude right now. It's okay. But I think I always look at it as if I were an FI.
NFJs do not get the NE and FI hint, you're right.
Oh my god, I'll be like, I need space, and NFJs will be like, why? I'm like,
no. If you say I need space, NFJs will literally give you space. The issue is that people are not that direct.
Yeah, I guess like I implicitly think I need space, but don't know if I've said it in the SE enough for them to get the SE that I need space too. Because maybe I'll kind of mumble it or like throw it into a conversation and expect them to get it. So that's hard.
People need to think of NFJs more as like puppy dogs that just like want your love all the time. Like if you could just tell them to go away.
People are so nice to puppies, but they're not nice to other people.
No, but if you could just literally tell us to go away, then like we'll go away. Like I don't understand like the issue whenever people always talk about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, it's a hurried. But I just think that I get FE wrong. Okay, let's do breakdown. I get FE wrong because I'm imagining that they're saying it with FI if I were saying it. Because I'm like, ooh, look, a fellow feeler. We must be the same. Narrator, they are not the same.
Do you think that P's do that more often, or do you think it's just a symptom of not knowing personality type? Actually, no. I do think that P's ask themselves, what would it look like if I was doing that more, because you're using either FI or TI to sort of relate.
I think
personally.
All P's are kind of have trouble getting that J that doesn't share their judging function right. Like I just think I'll be like, wow, they're being so demanding, and if I were to use the same words, because I can easily think that I could get to the point where I'm using those words, I'd be so stressed out, but you're not, you're just talking. So I think depending on your type, FJs might seem clingier than they actually are being.
And if it seems like I'm being harsh on P's right now, like J's, they don't do this, but they do something else similarly, where they would like expect, I don't know, just an example, they'd expect, oh, you hate me, and like sort of expect people to explain things that maybe they shouldn't have to voice.
I just don't think, I don't think a fellow FJ would call a fellow FJ clingy, in my opinion. But I do think that as an FP, I judge FJs more harshly, personally, because I'm imagining if I were in their position or in their place and I said that, what I would be thinking. And this is so easy because we're both NFs who can like relate to each other, but we actually have so much different inner workings.
My INFJ girlfriend and I are clingy AF.
Oh my god, it's so stressful.
I mean, I've been on vacation, this is like, I think my 10th day, and it's literally, hi, I miss you. Like, we just cling the shit out of each other, but we don't fucking care. Because we know it's not that serious. It's not like, we know it's not, it doesn't feel like attachment, as long as it doesn't feel like attachment.
I think FE will say things and sound clingier than they actually are. Most of the time, it's just them not knowing how to express their TI with TE, so they'll use like FE to like demand answers from reality, and they'll kind of like not be able to like take like, I don't know, I just think FE always sounds more emotional and clingy than it is. Like, I just think that as an FI user, I've trained myself to kind of keep that in mind a little bit and suspend judgment. And I think as for NI, I think NI and TI is very focused on getting the true answer for like anything. So if I'm like, I need space right now, I think an NI TI user will be like, why? If they're kind of maybe surprised or curious. And I won't feel like or know why I need space sometimes, and then I'll get mad and I'll call them clingy, because to me it is clinging on to me when I'm trying to break free, when really maybe I haven't made that clear.
Yeah, I guess it is quite literally clingy in that regard.
Yeah, because if you look at the opposite, I think TE wouldn't cling. Like the little action of clinging a little bit. Like it's kind of like, I think NIT doesn't even notice how hard or not its grip is. It's like, I'm just touching you lightly. Is this clinging? I don't know.
Yeah.
That was me using a cutesy NES.
See, hopefully that metaphor makes sense to some of you. It doesn't really to me, because honestly, I don't know. Okay, actually, literally 2 years ago, somebody asked me to make a video about ENJ, like ENJ and manipulation. And I pretty much, my answer was like, I'm not manipulative. I've never had a manipulative intent. I don't even relate to that. And that's still true. But I'm starting to realize now how ENFJs and ENTJs, honestly, and really all Js, I mean, like, can seem that way. I'm starting to understand how, like, when your FI and TI is not very refined or pure, that sometimes your actions can seem like you are being manipulative, and the effect can be that you are manipulating, like, on accident. And I think that P's like see through that, because they see your FI or your TI that's lower down, and you can like notice that it doesn't feel like refined.
I think that J's are so used to like having a handle on their impact in the function they're better at, either it's FE or TE, that they don't know how to deal with the repercussions of the other one that they're not using.
I'm so focused on making sure my FE impact is good that I accidentally impact people incorrectly in the TE
and FI. And I know that too, because sometimes as an NE user, I'll be so focused on NE and what my NE sees that I won't think about what the SE could see. And I'll be so mad if someone tries to, it feels like stabbing me if you tell me the SE too harshly, which SPs honestly don't really do as much as I think NJs do, because I think without SI, I can't understand what SE even is. So that's my opinion. But long story short, I don't think NFJs are actually that super clingy. I just think that it's easy to get them wrong if you don't understand how it works.
I think we're not clingy. I think we're kind of dumb.
Yes, that's what I realized. Megan had to be like, think of me as someone who's dumb, not mean. And I'm like, okay. And that helped me a lot, honestly. Yeah. Meanwhile, I think that every single type
we have to be told.
I'm gonna like psychologically psychoanalyze people who ask this question, because these are all stereotypical questions to people, and I refuse to just go with it.
Oh, that's so interesting, because I think that you're like using FI to notice why do people ask that, like, what emotion would
why
cause
do you want to know? I just think people want to know so they can better deal with a phenomenon that feels widespread, but what I think helped me,
And let me just say, before you get into that, because I think that is going to be really good, but I want to explain too that no offense to people who have asked those questions, but my TI tends to sort of dismiss that as, why would you ask that? There's no answer to that. Or sort of like, I'm just like, why would you ask that?
As a PM, like, someone asked that for a reason. There's a reason why they're wondering. And I also, my TE thinks that P's tend to ask that question because P's are going to misinterpret J's behavior as excessive and annoying in some way. Mm-hmm. You can also say NFPs could ask, why are TJs so cold, blah, blah, blah. I just think that it's a result of being kind of scared of this type that will refuse to admit they're clingy, because if you tell an FJ they're being clingy, I don't think they're gonna take that sitting down usually, and that honestly ironically makes them maybe more clingy if you lash out at them to tell them to go away. And I just think it's like a result of we as P's forget that J's don't have the other judging function that they lack, and because we will react to both TE and FE all the time, we're gonna be imposing our standards on them a lot of the times. Because I just learned that when I think of the world through the perspective as someone without the other judging function, I just think it's kind of like you're always trying to control for one thing, so they're only looking at one side of the puzzle, and the most that I can do is just be aware that they're only looking at one side and give them the benefit of the doubt that they are curious enough about the other side, and so long as I have patience with them, it's on me. And so I think that if you're thinking an NFJ is clingy, make sure you're checking yourself that your emotions aren't getting out of control, because that's going to make them react to and get more clingy.
Something too I want to explain, just in case maybe you guys haven't clicked to this yourself or heard it explained, is that all P's, no matter what type you are, your extroverted judging function would be either
T or FE.
What am I trying to say? No P has a blind spot that is an extroverted judging function.
Yes.
And so that means that all P's are going to prefer one extroverted judging function and then have the other be mildly decent.
Yeah.
Like, let's look at her, for example, as an ENFP. She uses extroverted thinking as her third function. So it is conscious, but it is not very skilled. But it's conscious and it's used and it's preferred. Well, for her, also, extroverted feeling is not conscious, nor is it preferred, but it is something that is you're very skilled at.
Yeah, it's not a blind
that you understand.
Yeah, it's not a blind spot. And so I think P's are good at reacting to both of them. And in wielding them a little better than J's, because J's will have like the other extroverted judging function so far down compared to P's.
Yes, and that's why P's are so adaptable.
Here. Okay, wait. It's like the two extroverted judging are kind of like this for P's, and then J's it's like a bigger gap. Like, oh my god, FE way down TE, or oh my god, TE way down FE. And P's will always kind of be like this kind of.
And if you guys
go between both.
If you guys have heard about how Dave Superpowers talks about how your demon and your whatever, what was it? How he made a video once that was like, we are all obsessed with our dominant function. It's kind of like a drug that we are all like addicted to. So if you think about it, all J's are going to be like addicted to one of the extroverted judgings, so that their other extroverted judging is going to be so like, I hate you.
Yeah.
That like
I hate SE and TI so much.
Yeah.
STPs, I love you.
And so P's are sort of, the reason that they're able to be adaptable is because you're able to at least notice the FE and the TE of what's going on and kind of, wield both as two different tools in your back pocket. Where I can't remember what caused this conversation.
I don't know. And NFTs being clean. I was trying to get into like a philosophical look at who is asking that, why they think that, because I don't think every single type asks that. I think only certain types would think that enough to ask, and I tend to think it's P's.
Oh, and the reason why I was going to say look at us as dumb is because you have to realize that it's like, we might be really good in social situations, but we don't really understand, at least FJs don't necessarily understand how we impact each other. Oh, I randomly just got a lot of comments, so
something must have been going. I was like, why is no one talking right now?
So let's look at this for a sec.
Hubbies are dead. You're correct, Crystal. Yes, thank you.
I'm sorry about that. I want people to text me once a month. Same.
What do you think about the furry fandom? Oh, dogs. Yeah, I used to not like dogs, and now I think I like dogs.
Sorry, I don't know how to. Okay, there we go. Are NFs more likely to be bisexual? I'll answer that in a sec. That's a pretty good question, but some of these guys I might not answer today, but will later.
I'm so sad. I want to know what GA's hot takes were because she keeps reacting, and I'm like, I don't know what that was because the service was
We're
bad.
about to get to it. Okay.
All I want is memes. Oh my god, relatable. I never said ENFJ cleanliness. ESFJs have always had the clean ones. I think ESFJs have a different concept of reality, and their NE without NI makes it hard for them to accept things. So that's why I think that though they won't let something go and beat a dead horse even more than an ENFJ. Yes, J's do give off that my way or the highway vibe.
Yeah,
you're so
definitely.
Right. Oh my god.
I think it's because we only know how to like sort of express like one way.
It is actually my way or the highway because quite literally, what's the other way for you?
Yeah, literally.
Like literally, they don't have the other way. They don't have a TE and FE way. They only have one of those ways.
Yeah, and that's why I always say things like that on my channel of like, this is my life. You can watch or you could not. It's sort of like the my way or the highway is sort of like, I'm gonna be going on my way whether you like it or not. You can come along for the ride and we can be pals. But if you're gonna try and like mess up what I'm doing, then that's not
I think P's can be like, I see it this way, let me know if you see something else. That's what P's do instead.
But okay, what is the opposite of my way or the highway? Like
both ways.
How could you go both ways?
I think you're always keeping in mind the TE or the FE way, and P's always are thinking about both of those ways. So yeah.
California. Okay, I do need to answer the question about if I would want to move to California.
Yeah, I think NFJs do find it difficult to process their own emotions because they're always aware of both people's emotions at the same time.
Yes, and I would agree with that because I think it's like we never want to put our emotions in front of somebody else's, and so it's hard.
We're talking about J and the MBTI way. Socionics is a little different because socionics it's like the EJs, and in socionics it's like the IPs. So, but we're talking right now about EJs and IJs.
Yeah, and no one is actually dumb. I'm kind of saying that facetiously to get you guys to think about the fact that it's like I have a blind spot, and other ENFJs that seem clingy, they're like reacting from a blind spot, and so as opposed to thinking of it as a malicious intent, think of that they're just like
I
dumb.
think when TI is rude, it's kind of like not thinking of the T impact, which can seem like, yeah, like, I mean, we already said it, so.
Oh.
Thanks, Michelle. I don't know how to respond to that. Is there a type that feels misunderstood versus a type that is actually misunderstood?
I made a video once about NJs. If you're misunderstood, watch this. And I do think that NJs are actually misunderstood, but I also
lucid dreamer. I think for your FIFE and bigger boobs question, it's because maybe a feeler is more aware that people are paying attention and will maybe emphasize that as opposed to because they're actually literally physically bigger in the SE. So I think that you just notice it more, but your SE doesn't realize that it's not actually bigger. Anyways.
So many T's think feelers are dumb, which is bad. Definitely. And I mean, a lot of feelers think that thinkers are mean.
Which is also bad.
In my video about NJs feeling misunderstood, I actually had a lot of comments saying NTJs don't feel misunderstood, they're mean or something. And I was like,
NTJs feel so misunderstood that they've already internalized it as their reality and just don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah,
but
so
plenty of TJs have, after me psychoanalyzing them, cried to me about being misunderstood. So I just think it's one of those things where most people aren't going to get them that deep. So
yeah, I think that everyone feels misunderstood all the time, but some people are more likely to care and some people are more likely to try. And some of those people are the same and some aren't. I think that maybe NFPs might care more when they're misunderstood, but they might not try as hard to be understood because you kind of want to be unique.
And that question is so hard because I'm like, it depends on who's trying to understand you. You know, like it's on a given.
How do ENFPs have a fashion style when they have SE demon?
Because
they don't. Sorry, just kidding. Hey, was that mean?
Yes.
That was clearly a joke.
It's because we use all 8 functions as humans anyway.
That was clearly a joke.
Well, yeah, but it was still kind of mean.
No, but it's a
Ooh, wait, this is a good example of how, despite the fact that your TI meant as a funny way, TE was still impacted me in some way. So this
is something where I would say I love you, Crystal, but I disagree.
Exactly. Like, this is a classic example of what we were talking about earlier. Like, where NEP, I think, would be like, oof. Like, I don't know. Back me up here, guys. Which, I will also say that my FI is sensitive about not having...
We've literally joked about her not having a style before, which is why I'm confused that now you all of a sudden wish that you had a style.
I mean, we've kind of joked before, but it's like, in the context of that, it's almost like what would be courteous to TE and FI is if you waited for me to make a joke about that, because it's almost like that will change from well, if I'm in the mood to joke about that or not. I think without FI, you're always in the mood to joke about it.
You literally have said to me before that you think that NFJs are better at fashion because they have more of an NI brand.
I don't have a style at all. When I've worked hard on it lately, it feels kind of harsh, you know?
I don't think that was a joke. You guys are seeing the real us. I don't really give a shit. If you want to tell me to stop being annoying,
I think it's actually interesting.
I think it's cool that you guys get, because we do this all the time.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because the NFP's like, oh, and then the NFPs will be like, but she joked about it before in the SBs, so.
Oh my God, they're gonna be drunk.
Oh my God, geez, like with the popcorn, like, oh
well,
shit.
I know, because all NTPs probably would relate to me a little bit at least for being like, it was a joke, get over it. But the TI reason why I am like, no, I don't feel bad about it is because she's made the joke before, and I know that we've literally talked about this before.
Yeah, I think the FI is like, I will feel bad about it if I fucking want to, and I don't care if you don't feel guilty because that's cool. Like, I actually don't care if you don't feel guilty because I don't think you should feel either way or whatever. I just will be kind of like reminded of how I am kind of insecure about that, even if I am able to joke about it, so that's just... Yeah, like...
I'm not trying anything. That's the thing. I'm not trying. This is what I do.
I'm, like, annoyed by that, but I'm not hurt enough to, like, be a bitch and, like, stop the
live
or
here's the thing.
something. I'm still commenting on it, and she's still being defensive about it.
I'm not trying anything. This is just, I think it's funny. Like, that's the thing. A lot of you guys think FJs are being, like, manipulative. Like,
thanks,
I'm just trying.
Thanks, NTJ FI user who totally got why I'm sad.
No, but you can be offended all you want. I still don't think you have a bad sense of style, which is the thing. Is that if I thought that you had a bad sense of style, then it would have hurt.
Yeah, I get passionate when I have to defend myself because a TI user is kind of like trying to use TI to smooth it over, and my TE isn't accepting it.
Fine, don't accept it, but I at least want you guys to know that, like, this is not me manipulating her into getting it. I don't give a shit.
Okay, at the end of the day, even though I was annoyed by that comment, anyone who attacks Meghan for saying that, like, no, just, like, stop.
Honestly,
just, like,
I want
cancel.
you to do it.
Like, I just think it'll be interesting to literally watch in real time what happens behind closed doors. We fight pretty often, if you ask me. We don't fight as much as we used to, but this happens so much. But we are so nerdy and weird that we philosophically talk it out, which is how we've gotten to the point where we make live streams meta commenting on our tendencies.
Megan's
wow!
So inconsiderate.
Whoa, that is really mean. Like, I'm offended. Like, Meghan is so considerate that she doesn't give a shit about being inconsiderate.
Or I'm so not inconsiderate that I know the difference between when I'm being considerate and when I'm not.
She's so not inconsiderate that
I don't feel. Oh, I'm so not inconsiderate that I never try and seem considerate because I've never had to in my life because I'm always doing things for other people. That's the thing.
Yeah, like
I've never had to. Okay, some types I think have this thing where they like want to look like a good person. Honestly, like ENTPs and ESTPs are always doing things to look like a good person because they don't have FI and they're like, oh, am I a good person? I don't know. And like a lot of ETPs will like do these volunteer opportunities, stuff like that. I don't care. People my entire life have told me that I'm too nice. So, I mean, yes, you are a good person.
Okay, what I will say is I have an ENTP BFF, and I like got mad at her for making a joke with a meme that was kind of similar to like where she's like, but you've joked about this before. Same conflict. But she didn't talk to me for like 2 weeks because she was so afraid of offending me again. And Meghan, this bitch would never do that in a million years. She'd be like, are you pushing me away? Because that's stupid. And I'm like, yeah, I guess it is stupid. Like, it's like so interesting because having FI and TI, you're like, that is not an asshole thing.
I just think that FI users, you need to pick your battles. You need to pick your battles. Is this really something to be offended about? Extroverted feeling is like, I'm trying to have a good time. I have this goal of trying to have a good time. Yeah.
And see, okay.
And I would rather be offended by something that someone meant something wrong or someone actually offended me.
I agree with that. And like, see, right now, as you can tell, because I'm still talking and like having a good time, I am over it because I chose my battle by letting myself feel offended and kind of got over it. But what I will say is, for FJs, I think you kind of have to have the confidence of owning what you just did and not worrying about stepping on people, because it's not going to make sense to you to try and validate someone's emotion that you literally don't understand. And I don't think Meghan should have validated. You can say, I'm sorry that I am sorry for your emotion.
And maybe
I'm saying, you stop cutting me off, that you can say, well, Crystal, I feel bad for you that you were like sad just now, even though I'm not sorry for saying that because it was justified to me. And I'll be like, oh my God, yay! Like, it's kind of like, I users just want someone to acknowledge, oh, you were sad. Oops, I tripped. I apparently...
Sometimes I think if I acknowledge things, that they're going to grow and turn into unnecessary problems that didn't even exist before.
Yeah, like, there's been times when, like, Megan's just like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm not sorry for what I did. And I'm like, okay. Like, I'm like...
Yeah, sometimes I think that FI users want to bring people into their pity party where... Oh, no, Luigi, it's fine if you thought that.
We were, like, trying to think about what you meant for a sec, because it's so hard to, like, read it and, like, reiterate it to understand it. But it wasn't because you were being rude, don't worry.
Yeah, I think sometimes it seems like, at least to me, I might be wrong on this, that FI users, they kind of want to bring people into their pity party, and sometimes me validating it. Yeah, literally, we are.
We're like sisters. We're like literally sisters.
Like,
thank you, ENTP, who's perceptive for noticing that. But
these are the sort of things I feel like you like to be validated that only other NE users can validate. Anyway,
being offended is like cognitive dissonance. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You feel like something others said is false or wrong, since it conflicts with what you've previously been told. Ooh,
I feel almost like,
yeah.
okay, I don't know what Taylor Swift's type is, but I do think that she uses TI. And the way that she said, I did not ask to be a part of this narrative, I feel like it's very TI.
Personally, I think she's an INTP or ENTP. That's just my thing.
Yeah. I don't even want to go down this rabbit hole because...
Oh God, yeah, I hate to...
Literally, I'm not even going to tell you what I think she is.
If anyone ever wants to know why I think that, DM me or something, I guess. But anyways,
yeah, but the reason why I brought that up is that sometimes I feel like that, I'm like, I don't want to be a part of this narrative just because you're sad about it. I don't feel like I have to change my mood or change who I am or what I think just because somebody else is sad.
That's a very TIFE thing, and because FI and TE is always aware that they too potentially could feel that emotion, kind of like TE acknowledging that, they will give the pity party because they can actually relate to it.
Her style's too good for her to be an INTP. There's two things that are ironic about that. One, you're pretty much dissing NE users for having bad style, which I don't agree with.
She has great style!
I don't agree with.
I'm offended. Sorry, I keep using her.
I'm offended by that.
She's the other NP I see here who I actually have seen.
Also,
so I keep calling you out.
She's famous. She has teams of people who do that, which is why I don't like typing famous people. Okay.
They have a whole team of people using all 8 functions. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm being very facetious, honestly, so. But I did want to say something too, especially to the people like in the comments that might be watching this later. Please don't say anything mean to Crystal about how she's reacting just because I disagree with her. Only I get to. Or
yeah, don't be mean to Meghan either, because I'm perfectly capable of defending myself, and it's like a privilege for you guys to see us literally shake it off.
Yeah,
so like appreciate that.
Yeah.
As if this is reality TV, and I don't really care about your hot takes unless it's philosophical and intellectual and interesting.
Yeah, look at us as examples.
I don't want the fucking morality police.
No,
here.
oh God.
Anyway, we don't need validation. We just validate each other enough. We're like sisters. Like whatever. So yeah. I love you guys arguing each other. Only I can diss her. Only she can diss me.
Oh yeah, no, but for real, guys, it's like all I want to see is, oh, I'm an FI user and I have viewed FE users like Meghan that way too. Now I understand Meghan. Or I want to see, oh, I have viewed Crystal that way. I'm an FE user. Now I understand Crystal.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear any like little group chats of like, oh, ENFPs are mean, or
ENFPs are rude. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, not here for that. Like, we decided to let you guys into
because we understand it's just a miscommunication, okay?
Like, I just think this is more meaningful for people to see us fight and then like shake it off, because then they'll understand how NFs fight. And they'll be like, oh, I've never seen that if they haven't experienced that themselves.
I always clap my hands because I can't. Hold
Wait,
it.
what did the
Because it is effective, okay?
Yeah, it's because they're trying to use it as oops.
F-E and S-E, okay? I am, telling you how it is.
Yeah, like see, we're like over it. Even though you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, the popcorn, and then you're like, oh, now they're fine.
And then Oprah does, you get a bag and you can get a present. That would be my dream, to have the power to give everyone presents, but then to be able to tell them individually, you are special.
You has a function, and you has a function, and you has a function, and you has a function.
But yeah, the point is that I really hope that everyone here is looking at this as something to learn from, and not as like a let's gang up on the NFP perspective or the NFJ perspective. Because I also hope you guys know that just because I have a perspective that's different than hers, it's not better than hers. And that's why I don't think I ever feel guilty or feel inconsiderate, because I know deep down in my core that I view it this way because I'm an ENFJ. I don't ever think it's better.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
I will say that like everyone's perspective is equally useful, and think of it as it's equally useful at some point. So sometimes like some people's hot takes are better for this instance, but that does not mean that other people's hot takes aren't useful in other instances. And I think keeping that in mind as a general rule of thumb is a good way to try to accept all people's instances and uses and emotions and blah 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 blah.
Okay, so I wanted to comment on NFs being more likely to be bisexual, and also comment on whether or not I'd want to move to California. Was there anything else you wanted to comment on before, or we'll probably end this live?
If anyone has any more questions that we forgot to cover, just put them down again.
And if you were like, hey, I asked a question that you didn't answer, like, let me know that too.
Yeah, I guess. Anyways, do you want to start with your California?
I'll start with the bisexual thing because I think it's easier to answer. Personally,
because low judging. Yes, no, underlying motivations though. I did used to do that, and then I was like,
yeah.
We can agree to disagree because we literally have different functions.
And see, I don't even view it as agree to disagree. Oh, hi Omar. Can you?
Is he blocking the
He's
people that are
probably
mad
mocking.
about that? Because I actually don't know.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
We'll scroll that up in a second.
Yeah, just like put them down here again so we can get to them.
The thing is that this is why I find Omar's pissed, y'all.
I've been waiting for this moment. Okay.
This is why I think type is so interesting, is that it's almost like there is no right answer. There's an ENFJ perspective and then there's an ENFP perspective. The ENFJ perspective is only better so far as it's mine, because I was born that way and it's mine. It's how I see. It's not better. So that's why I don't even view it as like a agree to disagree. And I think that this is kind of because of my bad TE. I don't know how it's related to bad TE, but it's sort of like every single logic, every single thought that I have is introverted thinking. And so for me, every thought I have is so personal that like I know, like I would never like, I don't know how to.
I guess I feel like agree to disagree is like a TE-ism that's not going to make sense to someone without TE. And I just think it's like TE, it's like agree to disagree means to acknowledge you're going. I think FJ, we just think it's inherently a given that people are going to have different opinions.
Oh, I also think it's sort of like I haven't made a conclusion, and I think TE makes a conclusion. But I think that I like muse about TI and I have my own perspective, but I never would go so far as to say I'm right, you're wrong. And even though it sounds like ENFJs are doing that all the time, I don't think I ever tell anyone that they're wrong. I think I just adamantly say I disagree.
I think TE is like, we are both disagreeing. That is okay, is what TE wants to hear when they say agree to disagree. Like, we don't get each other right now. Like,
I know, but TE users, they seem like they're still trying to change my mind. Like, can't you just, like, even like the agree to disagree still sounds like I'm right and you could disagree. I wish that, I don't know how to explain
it. That's weird because to TI it's like, they do think they're right. And I think what it is almost redundant, because I think TI users get that people have different opinions, and that's what TE is.
I just wish people can respect my opinion without trying to change it. And I think that TI users, honestly, NTPs that disagree with me, whenever I do get along with them, okay, I'm not trying to generalize, but I think it's like TPs, they can recognize that I am onto something. They can recognize like my train of thought, and then still TI unintentionally questions everything. I think TPs normally will be like, oh, you have a point, but I think this point's more important, and we can sort of kind of like have slightly different conclusions, but at least validate each other's points. But sometimes it seems like TE wants to completely knock my entire point in favor of their entire point and try and change me to go over to believing
It reminds me
that.
of how TI won't respect that TE just has a different point, the way FI won't respect that FE users just feel bad, okay? Like, don't rock the boat, basically, in a way.
Yeah.
I think GI gets you here. Yeah.
So the bisexual thing, you can scroll and think of if there's any questions you want to answer.
Okay, cool.
I personally believe that everyone exists on a spectrum of like being gay and straight. I don't think that anyone is 100%, but at the same time, I would never invalidate however anyone wants to identify. If you say I'm 100% gay, who am I to tell you you're not? And if you say you're 100% straight, who am I to tell you that you're not? But I personally believe it's a spectrum. And so I think that if it is a spectrum, then it would make sense for NFs to be more open to seeing the spectrum and open to being different and
Yeah,
things
I
like
agree.
that. And so I don't think that NFs are more likely to be either queer at all or bisexual, but I do think that NFs are more open-minded, which could be linked
More
to that.
open-minded to that specific thing. Like,
Yeah.
about being bisexual, because they're gonna question and like examine their emotions, examine their intuition.
And NFs are totally cool with breaking social norms in a lot of ways.
Yeah, like I think that like NFs will think more about the social norms to critique them and just think about the concept of bisexuality in general. And yes,
Yeah.
more open-minded in relationships. So I don't think it's like that there's more bisexual NFs, but that NFs would be the first to think about if they are or not, and just so happen to do that.
Yeah, I also think that you could think of it this way too, is that if you were gay or queer at all, LGBT, and an NF, it would be really hard to not be yourself because you're so emotional that you might feel like you have to come out. Where maybe someone who's more of a sensor might feel those feelings but not feel like, I don't know, like sensor and thinker. I feel like NF would be more likely to, if you were that way, to feel like you have to be honest with yourself because you're so emotion driven. So that's another way of looking at it. But any questions you wanted to answer from?
There was one about I think
I'm only answer the
I asked-
California one.
Oh, I asked what you hated about SE. Ooh. I guess I hate how. Here's the thing. I've thought about this a lot, and I think I hate SE not as a function, but depending on who's giving it to me. Because I think anyone who's not an SP giving me SE is like overly harsh and stomping on my NE. But I think SPs giving me SE are really inspiring. What I don't like is sometimes SE that doesn't make sense to my SI will just feel like kind of like stop dreaming, like what you are doing doesn't make sense. And it's like in my head I'll think of it that way. Whether or not it is that way, I'm not sure. But I just like personally, it just seems like a harsh reality check. Like kind of like your dreams aren't as possible as you think. Please incorporate reality into them, and that's hard for me to do because sometimes I just don't know if I should scrap the whole dream and start
Yes.
over. I'm crazy. SE thinking about the fact that SE exists makes me feel more crazy than I already do. It makes me feel more like an outsider that I already do, and I hate how I just don't think I hate SE, but that I hate myself for not having SE is a more accurate statement. Like I won't like notice if I've almost run into a pole that was stuck in my head, or I won't notice something like an obvious sign, or I won't notice if I've said something or not. So I think my relationship to SE is just very tumultuous, but I wouldn't say I ever hate it. Sometimes people just deliver it kind of harshly. I'm always grateful for people to try and help me reconcile SE and NE, so I can't answer that because it's not accurate to FI to say I just don't like SE.
But it does cause distress.
Yes, it
And
does.
I think, I can't remember who just asked it, but something, are ENFPs afraid of the obvious, or what was it? Do ENFPs struggle with seeing the obvious? Yes. And something else about SE I want you guys to realize is that a lot of times SE is about having the willpower to change your mind, or the willpower to just decide to do something or to do it. And I mean, earlier I was telling her, you need to trust yourself, and she was like, I know, or whatever, but then I knew that she wasn't trusting herself. And I just was sort of like, okay, well, you can make that decision. It's your decision to make.
I will think of reasons to not, but reasons to, and I'll be considering every angle of it. Like, yes, SE is a constant reminder that we may be missing the trees for the forest, or
the
missing the
forest
forest
for
for
the
the
trees.
trees.
Yeah,
Like, I'm like, what is the whole forest? And I'll be caught up. SE to NE,
Yeah.
whoa, why are you getting all up in me like that? I think though SE users will be like, well, here's the SI, and they'll give it to me, and I'll be like, ooh, okay, that helps me. Like, that's what a lot of SPs do for me. So it really depends, because sometimes I'll feel like I have to give up my SI for SE, because I'll be nitpicking, well, I don't know if I should go that way, because what if this happens, or blah blah blah. Like, I just get really like paranoid if I feel like I have to use SE. Like, if I have to just jump, I'm like, I don't know if I should jump. How far? Like, how far should I jump?
Someone that just said SE users see the twigs. You really must not know what SE is at all, because twigs are like so small that, like, honestly, an SE user, if you want to criticize them, say that they miss the twigs. You know,
What?
like,
I think SI sees the twigs and SE
Yeah.
sees the forest. I'm confused.
yeah, SE would just say, oh, look, it's a forest, but they might not notice, like, all the creatures that live in it or something. Like, maybe NI would notice, like, oh, there's life here or something like that. I know, too many tree metaphors.
Also, people that always say SE users are NE users are bad at physical things, I think it's comprehending the physical implications in an SE and NI way. Like, I know NPs who are good at sports.
This is now a forestry channel. I've changed my...
I think NPs can be good at sports, but they won't like think about like their body as a physical entity. So just learning with SI how to do sports. Like, okay, here's the thing. I'm really good at like navigating through traffic and somehow not crashing and like going really fast, and like to say NPs are bad drivers is not
Meghan
accurate.
LeVota. That seems like such
Oh,
an ENFP.
God.
Oh my God, Omar, that's so something she would say.
Oh my God. Well, I don't think that pun is funny, so I'm just not going to dignify that with a response. But I think that you can train your SI into doing repetitive sensory things and get good at sports from that. But what I will say is, I think users are bad at seeing and understanding what the physical reality is. And I really often will get scared of SE in that way, and if you give it to me too harshly without easing me into it with SI, I'll just clam up and not be able to comprehend it. And this is how I think everyone's 8th function is.
Yeah, man, I'm just sick of people thinking that SE is like, people just talk about SE as like it's so basic, but like NE is just as shallow as SE.
Yes.
They're both extroverted.
I have a theory. Sorry, I'm just like, you're not getting my good side.
Oh, I'm trying to. It's just like my arm keeps hurting holding
I can hold it if
Do you want to hold it for a sec?
Yeah. I think that NE and SI, and SE and NI are two sides of the same coin, and SE just tunes into the collective of what we all see with our eyes, but reality is a projection to begin with. So SE just thinks more about the commonalities of what we experience, and NE thinks about mode activators. What a TI comment. I think NE thinks about like...
For all of you guys that say that I don't use FE and I don't have love, I do.
Yeah, this is an example of bad FE. Oh no, she got too tired. But NE, I think, thinks of how we're all different, and the differences in our experiences, and SE thinks of the similarities in our experiences. So the SE is like, look, we all saw that person walk by. I'm like, I don't care, because I'm thinking about how, like, that person...
Another experience, yeah.
Just that kind of thing. SE has triggered me a lot in the past, but I think from interacting with healthy sensors who are curious and give me good SI and SE, I have learned to better accept that SE exists and isn't a threat to me. It can help me.
Yeah.
But it has to, no offense, Megan, I think other people are better explaining SE to me with SI, I think, because I have to be eased into it. Just as how I don't think I'm always good at giving you, like, like thinking advice, because I just only know how to use TE in a rule, in a fact-based thing, and I think TPs that can explain the TE of what people are doing with TI can definitely help you more.
This is why I said to her like several months ago, I realized that I need her to start my empire. Okay, I'm being like facetious clearly, but I realized that literally I can't explain anything with only 4 of the functions.
Yeah, we need all 8.
I need her to, or else I can't like sort of explain like everything I've come to. And also, Inspo Creator.
Oh my God,
she said, God, what did she say?
My TE is we keep name dropping her, and I bet she's like, oh my God.
Yeah, she said NE users think we have unique experiences, and I want to say you do have unique experiences. Everyone does, but NE users are going to be focused on their unique experience.
Yes, we think about that more than we think about how we all have the same experience. That's hard.
So I want to validate that, okay, even though as an SE user, it's easy for me to be like, oh, you think you're so special, don't you? But like, yeah, you are. Like, you are so special.
You think you're so special. You're right, but there's also other things you should be thinking about, is what I think SE is ultimately trying to do.
So I want to blab about California just for a sec, and you could comment on that as well too, but I'm really trying to narrow down just on that. If you have any other questions, I can get to them another time, but I do want to get going. But that's such a hard question. I've literally been thinking about would I move to California so long, because do you think I should move here? I keep asking her. You should answer.
I think your FI does want to be around other inspired people.
Yes.
And I think as your FI and TE gets better, you do want to come here more. My hot take is a lot of FJs I know who live here now don't like how you have to use TE in FI. Like, you have to
work your way to the top.
Like, you have to have tough skin and be okay with your dream kind of failing. And with people you have to filter through the people who are going to exploit you versus the people who are going to care about you. And in LA, everyone is, in a way, in it for themselves, because they came here to make their dream happen, which is not to say other people's dreams can't happen, but you're going to have to be okay with that. And I think that as Megan's TE gets better...
Personally, I don't like the East Coast, so I don't know. Maybe there is something to what you said, but...
I mean, if you're talking about like how there's a system to things more on the East Coast of like old-timey things, then sure, I can see why you would think that. I personally disagree. I do think that the West Coast has a vibe that lets peace be free and like flow and use more of their FI and TI towards
California
what they want.
seems very FI to me.
But they're not to say that Jays can't have good FI and TI and still be here, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that, but I've always known I wanted to live in a bigger city, but I'm the sort of person where if I have a desire to do something, I'm going to figure out how to do it. But I haven't had a desire to move to any city strong enough that would make sense for all of the effort that it would take to move and stuff. Literally all of my family lives in Missouri. And also Missouri's pretty cool. I mean, I can't really complain, honestly. I mean, there are okay, here's the thing, is that there's nothing wrong with Missouri. There's just things that aren't there that I would like. So whether that means that I explore to other cities and travel more, or I move here, I know that I'm the sort of person that wants to be where the action is, wants to be surrounded by creators, but I have no problem with Kansas City. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
Also, earlier when she was like, there's nothing wrong with Missouri, that was not an objective statement. That was just to her, there's nothing wrong with it for her. Like, I know that someone out there's going to be like, there's a lot of things wrong with a lot of things.
Well, there's a lot of things wrong with a lot of things.
I just was going to get on you for that, and I was just thinking, oh shit,
maybe that's how people get on
here.
you. Why can't you just realize that everything I say is an opinion?
Everything she says is subjective to her, but because it's said with no qualifier, with I think, blah, 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 then people are going to assume that
people
you're trying
don't
to be
listen.
absolute.
And this is confusing to me too. I've thought about this, is that literally teachers tell you in learning how to write to not say I think, because it dumbs down your statement. Or it maybe this is why EFJs are so persuasive or whatever. I guess I just think saying I think sometimes is redundant.
She personally thinks saying I think is redundant, but other people have their views. I don't actually know. But anyways, back to what you were saying.
Back to California.
Personally, I wouldn't date an ISTP, but that's just my personal feelings.
But she would ride on the back of a motorcycle.
I would ride on the back of a motorcycle with that. I just saw the NE connotation of I don't need a boyfriend. I have an ISTP best friend who literally has a motorcycle. He lives the childhood best friend actually does literally ride one.
Yeah. So honestly,
SF.
It's funny you guys are asking me that, or one of you asked me that question about California, because I have been sort of stuck on that for a bit, wondering if I should. I think I might want to move to Chicago. I don't know. Right now, honestly, Chicago and LA are the only two cities that I've been to where I've been like, I actually can see myself living here. When I went to New York and DC, I was disappointed. I probably will still visit. I liked the 15 years, and then I moved to another house for 2 years that was just in a different neighborhood, the same
Yeah.
suburb, and then I went to college 2 hours away, and then I came back, and then I moved to the city. So it's still only ever been Missouri, and so that's why I think I kind of want to move. But the thing is that I succeed better as a big fish in a small pond. I think it's going to be good for my career to just stay in Kansas City and use all my resources I have. I have a lot of network, and it's fun. It's cheap for now. You know, I'm in a mid-sized city. Like, I could travel a lot. I mean, the cost of living is just so cheap that for me to be for me to be in
I can just say anything that's cohesive or flowing.
I mean, I qualify for entry-level jobs, and I'm not going to move to an expensive city unless I qualify for mid-level jobs. You know,
yeah.
like,
Can I add my hot take?
yeah, or unless I work for myself. Add your hot take.
Well, okay, I'm adding my hot take because some people that we've talked to have literally asked me if I think Meghan should move, kind of expecting me to be like, yeah, be with me, and I'm like, I let people do what
Really?
they want.
People ask you that?
Yeah.
That's weird.
I'm like, well, your cousin did, or whatever, and I'm like, I let people go where they're supposed to go, and they're like, wow, Crystal's attached. This is like your best friend ever, and I'm like, I just trust in our relationship, like douchey FI things. I mean, we do fight already, just in the same city or in separate cities, so it doesn't really matter.
As intuitives, I literally forgot like what she looked like, or like the fact that we haven't been in person for a year until I was here, and I was like, oh, I really haven't seen you in so long. Wow, because it feels like she's still like always there.
See, here's the thing. As an FI user, I hate telling people what they should do because I'm still aware that our FI, and also as a Delta, FI and SI are so different. For me, I am so opposite from Meghan, so like I have moved around way more. She's visited me in like almost every single city I've lived in for the last
I visited her in Minneapolis and DC
and Portland. Yeah,
So.
I hate feeling like my TI could influence someone else. So to me, that's a form of control.
And something else that's pretty cool about like the college that we went to is that I probably have like a pretty good friend in almost every large city now. And so any city that I go to, I have somebody that I can like ask to show me around. And so I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot for that, you know, like.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, I just hate controlling people and I hate feeling controlled. Like when I was considering moving to LA, there's this guy I just was like, I'm not gonna move to a city if it looks like I'm going for someone else, and I would hate the idea of someone going for me, but that's a oh, well, I think that people should move and get out of their comfort zone, but my comfort zone for like the past 5 years has been traveling. So I grew up in Oregon. I moved to Missouri for school because I wanted to get out of my comfort zone.
I think weirdly staying is out of my comfort zone in a way.
Yeah, like
the end goal of my career, but like I'm not there yet, and it doesn't make sense to do that yet. I have to just trust that I will get there.
Like,
because the last thing I would want to do, I didn't want to cut you off. I want you to go back to that topic, so please remember it. The last thing I would want to do is be one of these wannabe people that moves to LA on a dream and thinks that I can't be successful unless I'm in a place like this. Because so many people think that, and then they have this delusion about, oh, well, once I'm here, then now I've made it and I'm worth something.
Yeah.
And I just never have related to that. I know that my problems are going to follow me no matter what city I live in, and so I don't really want to blame it on that. And so I would never be the sort of person that just moves to a big city just to move. Like, it would have to be like for the job or for the opportunity or something like that. So.
Oh, Gia keeps saying dead.
Why are you dead? Do you agree?
Like, are you just laughing at my NE or agreeing with her TI?
Or is she just
both?
this? I think you said you're from Canada. Maybe she's just this Canadian, like laughing at. You're just laughing at the United States, probably.
Also, yeah, for some reason, just like the snide comments Jihei makes reminds me, do you know who the rapper Aquafina is? Some of the things you say remind me of her. I think she's also a TP, and she's also Asian like us.
Also, underlying motivations, I have a friend of mine that actually was an INTJ that moved to San Francisco just to try it out right out of college, and she ended up having to like live in her car. And she actually now like lives in Kansas City and is like, you know what, I need a break. She's like very entrepreneurial. She's like, I'm gonna just let myself freaking save money for like a couple of years and then do this because, oh my God. She was just like, that was stressful.
Yeah. Gosh, it really does depend on finances, I think. So, But yeah, I was just saying how I have moved so much that I almost don't know if my opinions are valid because I'm so used to moving. And to like try to zone and think what works for that person is hard for me because it's like a very FE and NI thing to do. Like I lived in Missouri and then I moved for internships to North Dakota, Indiana, DC, Minnesota, back home to Portland, and now I'm in LA.
And Luigi, the
This
link
is all
thing.
in 2 years, and I'm just like, I mean, I'm used to moving, but now I want to settle down. So I think that if you haven't moved, move, and if you moved all the time like me, stay in one place.
And also, she's from the West Coast, and so it's really not that crazy to move to LA versus someone else, where it's like it still felt familiar enough. It was almost you still choosing some sort of familiarity.
Yeah,
Versus,
my SI still needed some grounding, but NE is LA is interesting enough for my NE to like the possibilities and stuff.
and the link thing, I did. It asked me before I went live if I wanted to screen potentially spam. And so it might just be screening it or something. Maybe I'll be able to accept it and look at it later. So sorry about that. I don't know what's going on, but
Yeah. But anyways, there's like some other comments here, and I would be happy to answer some of them.
But
like,
some other
down
time.
there. Yeah, we'll do more live streams somehow.
yeah, let me know if you guys like this. Honestly, this is like really fun for me.
Oh, I asked her if she knew this Asian American rapper, and I was like, why is that true? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no, I'm like literally like such TI, such awkward. Okay.
I also think that NE users are motivated by really big cities because it reminds you that possibilities are there, and also like it's motivating to be like, I don't know. But to me, I want to feel safe. That motivates me. I've always said that like if I won the lottery or something, that I would still be just as driven. Like I'm not driven so that then I could come comfortable. Comfort is not like a drive for me. But I think SI users it kind of is.
That is so true.
Like if I
liking SJ, I'm like that's definitely
if I
true.
won the lottery, I wouldn't just like try and make it last and try and live. Like if I won the lottery, I would be like, all right, yes, I'm gonna launch this and this and this, and I'm gonna try and have an empire. Like I would try and like make that money like move, you know? Yeah, definitely.
I didn't want to live in my hometown that was just very techie and have the same techie job as everyone else, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, so essentially, but the last thing I will say on that, who knows where I'll end up, but some people do think that I'm like scared or afraid to move to another city, and it's really not that. In fact, I really would like to just say goodbye to my parents for a while. I mean, like I love my parents so much, but it would be nice. It would be nice to just go, like...
Yeah, you're not like FI, like obsessing over it. You're just like,
I'm not afraid, honestly. I think it might even be the easy way out. So, in fact, I'm trying to challenge myself by staying.
Yeah.
Because I think it'd be the easy way out to just go to some city and go with all these other hippie liberals that know their astrology chart and like have their pink hair or whatever and just talk about our freaking personality types and be like, OMG!
We can
and
do
like
that on the internet.
And I could just go there with my avocado toast and my YouTube channel, whatever. And I would feel like I fit in. But you know what? I need to be happy with myself first, is like kind of what I've come to.
You're getting there.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's a good way to end it. I think I'm going to try and go to like another...
Yeah, oh, Jihei asked us what we're going to do next. We have to answer that question.
I don't know. I need to... starving artist. If I can say some words of wisdom from this VidCon panel I went to is no more starving artists. Now we should prioritize artists who eat food. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going. I'm going back to VidCon, but I think I might go to a panel about Facebook videos, the new YouTube, or LinkedIn videos, the new YouTube, or something like that.
Personally, I'm not much of a YouTuber, which is why I keep hacking Megan's channel, and I'm like, hi!
She's
okay,
a better
bye.
writer than she is a talker.
Yeah, like, I write way more. Like, that's my mode of communication.
And that's not a diss on her talking. If anything, it is more so like a diss on my writing style. I don't know. Yeah, YouTube is being so annoying. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna freaking spill the tea on VidCon and TanaCon in a video if you guys want to know.
Yeah.
Like this is actually the reason why I've been thinking of wanting to do another channel, is because I'm like, oh, I want to like
have some hot
I
takes
want to
on
like
other things.
share some hot takes on some other things. Like I want to tell you guys what is wrong with YouTube and VidCon
I
and
miss
all
the
that
YouTube
stuff.
where I could just watch Hannah Montana season 1 episodes for free at age 12 and no one cared.
Yeah.
Or like Wong Fu Productions' Yellow Fever video, like without anyone caring. Sigh. Oh well.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh. Okay.
Anyway, on that note, I can keep talking all day. Honestly, I probably should just figure out.
We're gonna keep talking all day too. Now that people know the real us.
Here's a huge issue with me too is that I keep feeling like I need to have a topic, and we named this just Q&A, and then look at this. Like I think I just need to do this more regularly. I don't know. Like I think it's something that works for me.
Oh my god, I just love.
No comment.
I was like, okay, acknowledges he said it. Nothing else. But
It wasn't even like, oh yeah, you guys are hot. It was just like,
yeah, me and Omar do hotties, very hot takes. Yeah,
it was totally about Omar and
It
Luigi.
was about those two. It was about Luigi and Omar.
I thought it was
Someone's
like
flirting with you.
this person that had the brown background and the cute circular light brown head. Oh, I don't know. Oh, and the A letter. Those are
What
great.
else?
Okay, anyway, that was like not a good joke, but anyway, I think that my FE sort of likes the style of like interacting with you guys, and I like can get my thoughts out better in this
Yeah,
way.
they were like,
And I don't know why I
Like,
didn't think of
yes.
it earlier.
like we were talking to them. We don't have to open our mouths at all. Oh,
Okay.
and also if you ever want to share your channels about MBTI, people besides Jihei, let me
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah.
Omar should make more videos.
Omar, make more videos. Oh.
Yeah, we all think you should.
Omar, you should also share. I'd be interested in. Hopefully, this isn't like too much to ask. Some of your hot takes on like politics and current events. I would love to hear your
Yeah, like
ENFP hot
take
takes.
every theory you put in the group and make a video about it.
Also, Crystal and I, we might do a podcast thing about news and current events and like kind of talking about the
Yeah,
functions
you get
through
to
that.
hear us type politicians and celebrities, and I guess if you want to argue, just make your own video or podcast in response. I really like, how come no one ever makes response videos to you? Like, they just are commenting, and they're not making any effort.
I don't think
I'm.
she definitely is, because really, if anyone knows about TanaCon, we'll make another post on this because I have to go. Like, I need to make sure I go, and I could talk forever. But
We love you guys.
but
We consider you our.
the gist of it is that I think that TanaCon as an event was somebody who had no clue their TE impact on things and was just trying to use FE to make everyone feel good
That is
and had no clue how popular she was. She did not realize the safety risk.
Yeah.
She didn't realize all those things. I think that to TI she had like a good, like,
Yeah, it's like TanaCon was like a convention that a YouTuber made separately to compete with VidCon, kind of.
yeah. I want to talk about that. in
Just go on
another-
Twitter and look at the hashtags of TanaCon and you'll see the drama.
If you're
Other
curious,
people.
yeah. I've been wanting to make a video totally unpacking the situation with Shane Dawson and what's his name, James Charles and Tana Mojo. I like have
There's
so many
millions
thoughts.
of people following right now. It's hilarious.
So many thoughts.
Yes.
Anyway, but thank you guys so much for watching and please subscribe. Love you. Wait,
Love
I don't
you.
know you like that. I don't love you, but I do love you.
We love most of you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.